Hey everybody, what's happening? Hopefully you're having a great day. It's an awesome day here. Sun is shining, still shining. It's coming into the springtime here in the good old Torontos. Wherever you are, hopefully you're having a great day. And I want to talk to you today about the launch sequence, or about some stuff that it doesn't work really well and how to get over that, what to do if you don't have things happening with your launch. And I've been getting a lot of questions about this over the last couple of weeks, and just wanted to share some stuff with you guys. So here's the deal, right? Got some people who are asking me about the launch situation and what happens if it doesn't work, right? And the thing is that, you know, if you're not familiar with the launch, it's the product launch style where you're putting out 3 or 4 videos and content, and you're trying to get somebody to buy at the end of that sequence, right? Now, depending on where you are and how long you've been doing product launches, a lot of times, that stuff, it takes a little bit of while to get that rolling, to get the right offer in place and to get people buying. And you got to understand that a lot of people, when they're coming into your world, whether it's with a product launch or just a regular email sequence or a lead magnet or whatever, a lot of times they're not ready to buy. And that's just the way it is. Now, there's a good section of this, because a lot of people that are telling me that their launch isn't working, or they're not getting people to open up their emails or whatever it is, they're feeling frustrated, overwhelmed with what else can I do, and disappointed that they put all this time and effort into it. And I get it. I totally get it. Here's what you do though. A suggestion is really that you've put a lot of effort and time into your launch, right? You put a lot of effort and time into designing the course and the launch videos and all this kind of stuff. So if you understand, or you accept it to be true, that people are not really expected to buy, if we get a whole bunch of people buying on a webinar or through a launch process or something like that, that's good news. We're getting lucky, okay? But it's really not. It's not as normal as we like to think it is. And I'm just telling you the truth. But there's good news in this, because you've done all the work already. And all you have to do is put that into email sequences and follow-up sequences, right? And so when I get this question of, well, what do you do in an email sequence? Or I should say, in a follow-up sequence, a nurture sequence, what do you do? Do you sell through that nurture sequence? It's pretty simple, okay? What I would suggest for you to do is take the content that you've already done. Like if you've got a course that is, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 modules long, if it's 2 hours long or it's 20 hours long, doesn't really matter. You break that up into emails, right? You break that up into content emails. And this is what nurturing is. So let's pretend that somebody came through your funnel or through your launch process, right? They watched 2 videos, 3 videos, and whatever. They didn't buy yet. And now they're on your email list. And this is where everybody gets stuck, and they're asking me, well, what do I do now? What's the process? And it's this process. It's taking the content or pieces of the content and putting those into nurture sequences, talking about the same type of stuff that you've been talking about already in the launch. You've done your research, you already know what the pains and aspirations are from those audiences that you want to try to help them transform into buying something, right? So you take that information, you put it into emails, all right? And it doesn't have to be the exact same format or the same wording or anything like that. You take your scripts, or you take your videos, and if it's a video and you don't have a script, you maybe want to transcribe it or something, and just write it into a 300-word to 500-word email of good content. It's not selling anything. It's not like you're hard selling, going, hey, by the way, you didn't buy this thing, go buy this now. Which brings me to my last point about this, which is the question that comes up all the time from clients, is do I sell in a nurture sequence? Well, the answer is kind of yes, okay? And what I mean by this is that when you're putting out content, let's say it's, I don't know, you're talking about anything, how to make a banana smoothie, right? Whatever, you're talking about something. And when you're talking about that, these are people who have already gone through your product launch already, by the way. So I just want to make that clear. These are people who already know that you have a product to offer. They already know what the product is called and all this kind of stuff. So they're at that level of awareness. They're at the product awareness level. They know that there's something there for you. They're just not ready to buy yet, okay? And I talked about the levels of awareness in another video. You can check that out on my page. And hey, listen, if you do want to talk to me personally about your stuff without a hard sales pitch or anything else, by the way, except for, let me just pitch this now to you while I'm on here and remembering this, is go to talkwithjoey.com and we can have a private conversation about your stuff and see if there is a fit for us to work together. If not, I'll give you a blueprint and you can walk away clean without a hard sales pitch, all right? So back to the selling part of this inside the email sequence. What you do is you put a soft link to that. And so let's call it, how to make banana smoothies, right? Like maybe that's your your product. You're talking about that, or you're talking about the ingredients or the blender or whatever it is. I don't know why I'm coming up with this thing here on top of my head, but so you're talking about the content, and you put a soft link when you, let's say, you talk about the product. You put a soft link in there that links back to the sales page, but you're not really saying anything like, hey, go buy the product, or it's still available, or anything. It's just a soft link. It's a subtle link in the email. And that's how you sell. Now, I'm not saying you never ever sell again, but if they've just gone through a process where they've been given a lot of emails, if you're doing a product launch over the course of a regular type of product launch, like 7 to 14 days or something like that, and it's been a couple of weeks, even if it's just been a week of everyday emails, they're getting a lot of emails. And the last thing you want to do is just continue to hammer them with sales emails. So, but you do want to keep them hot. You do want to keep them nurtured. And the way you keep people nurtured is really by giving them really good content, by giving them goodwill stuff. So even if they don't buy, it's just like you're continuously giving them good stuff so they get to the level of knowing and liking and trusting you, right? Because that's when people are going to buy, when they know that you have a better interest in their outcome than your outcome, which is they give me the moolah, put it in my wallet, and walk away. I know you're not that type of a person, or you wouldn't be watching my stuff, right? So once they believe that you're that person who is really out to help them transform their lives with your product, it takes a little while sometimes, because they've been so jaded by the market. Like, let's be serious, right? The market is out there, and there's a lot of marketers out there who don't care and who just want to line their wallets. And that's not you and me. If you're watching this, I would assume that, because the people in my world are all about how do we really transform someone's life with a really good product or service, and you're willing to put a little bit of time in to nurture that relationship, because you understand that the relationship takes a little while sometimes, okay? So that's what I would suggest for you to do in that nurture sequence, is give the content, and you want to make a little bit of a sales, but it's so subtle because you're putting that soft link in there that links back to the sales page. You might get a couple people that will link to that and buy because you've given them 1 or 2 extra pieces of great content. But believe me, you've got so much content over the course of the stuff that you've already built. You could nurture for months. You could nurture for almost a year, I would suppose, depending on how much you want to pull out of that, the course that you've already built, okay? So repurpose what you've already got and put it into nurture sequences. Now, again, when you can have a nurture sequence go for a couple of weeks, a month, whatever. Then you can maybe put together another sale, a 4-day sale, and that's a totally different video. I don't want to go off on another tangent, but in the terms of the nurture sequence, if your stuff does not sell, and let's face it, it's just the way it goes. You have to be willing to accept that people are not willing to buy right away from you, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that your product is bad. It doesn't mean that they don't like it. It's just that they're not ready to buy yet. They haven't been convinced enough to part with their money, that the product is better for them to trade their money for that product, or whatever their situation. Sometimes people don't want to buy something because they don't believe in themselves that they could actually do that. So there's a whole lot of psychology to that. So as long as you understand that people are not ready to buy, and most of the time when people come into your world, they're not going to buy from you, and it's okay that you continuously give them goodwill and good content and help them through the nurture process, then eventually they'll turn around, hopefully, and buy from you, okay? Hopefully this helped you out. If it did, please share this with somebody and help them out too, because maybe there's somebody else struggling with their product launch too and wants to know a little bit about the nurture sequence and how to do it. That's one of my suggestions. I'd love to talk to you if you want to talk more personally, is that a word? I don't know. On a personal basis about your specific funnels and marketing and all that kind of stuff. We'll look at a blueprint for you without a hard sales pitch, I promise you. This is the only hard sales pitch that I have right now, is to just invite you to talkwithjoey.com, and we can talk about your specific situation If there's a fit to work together after that, great. If not, don't worry about it. I'll give you a blueprint on the steps you need to take to, look at your marketing and get a little bit better, where to go from it, and go from there. All right, talk to you soon.